head on over to basicjoomla.com/giveaways as usual. The usual prizes in there, plus a new prize since last week that we're announcing now. Every month giving away a 1-month template membership. No, a 3-month template membership from Joomla. Remember last week we got a tour of their asteroid framework. So you can head over, enter the contest, and everybody who enters the contest will get a coupon for 15% off anything at Joomla, even if you don't win. So that will go out by email if you've entered once the draw has happened. Okay, now, so he is regular here on the channel in chat, and John is joining us. You can see him in that little box up there because he's being quiet so it doesn't pop up and show. But he's got a new computer, headset, microphone, and he's brave enough to appear on camera, which I think has only happened like 3 or 4 times in the past. So, John, thanks for tuning in today. I see your mic is muted. There he is.
Hi, thanks for having me.
John, why don't you start out? I mean, a bunch of us know you, but just for everyone who's going to be tuning in onto this, tell us about yourself and tell us your Joomla story.
Okay, my name is John. I'm from Denmark in Europe. 46 years old. My Joomla story is that I actually started out with Joomla. I think it was version 1.5 in the early days. I have a background in information technology. Worked with that since I left school, and was interested in web development. So I started out with Joomla 1.5, as I said, and it really didn't caught on to me at that time. So I just continued to do the old-fashioned way of creating websites by coding the HTML myself. And after some years, I have to admit that I jumped onto the WordPress wagon and used the WordPress for a lot of sites and a lot of developments there. But now have for 1.5 years ago, I switched back to Joomla. And the reason why I did that is that I strongly believe that Joomla has a lot more to offer in the way of compatibility and flexibility in how you want your site to be developed and how to manage the data underneath the system. So I believe that it's much more valid management system than WordPress is. That's why I did choose Joomla at the end.
Okay, well, you said the magic password, so you're in. So you've programmed this extension. Before we look at it, tell me just a little bit about the process of what it takes to get it approved in the Joomla extension directory, and just or even where did the idea come from for all this? Sort of give us a bit of the background on it.
Yeah. What my need was that I really wanted to add the Open Graph protocol. The meta tags that a lot of sites, especially Facebook, are looking for when you publish a site on their page. If you go in, just make the URL reference, and then it looks up title and description and images and so on. I did look for add-ons for Joomla on the Jet for that. There are some plugins and add-ons for that, and many of them are good plugins. No comment there. But it wasn't really the things that I wanted, because I wanted a simple plugin that only did one thing for me, and that was adding these meta tags I wanted. And a lot of the applications that is out there, they do that, but they are not flexible enough for me. So you can define some of the tags, but not all of them. And on top of that, they also force you for some extra things. I really like that an application does or do one thing and it does that in the good way. So a lot of the application out there added something on top of that that I didn't want. So with the new fields you can create together with the content, custom fields, I thought, okay, it must be possible to use these to make a plugin that just read these fields and output them as meta tags when it displays an article. And so I did go into how to program in Joomla, and that was actually my first time to program in Joomla. I've done a lot of programming in WordPress, but that took me some time to actually understand how Joomla works and how it loads the content and so on and displays it. So I made this small plugin here, a module that does this one simple thing, that it reads the meta tags from custom fields and put them into tags into the source code.
Cool.
And that's basically what it does.
So what you've made is actually takes advantage of the core, and you're using custom fields, which is great, because we've had lots of discussions here on the channel and in chat and stuff like that about how Joomla has progressed to the point where there's so much great stuff in the core, which is nice to use, because in future updates you have that stuff there, and you're not necessarily waiting for a developer to come up with something that's compatible for a new version of Joomla, or even if something happens, the programmer's no longer offering that product for whatever reason, then all of your work that you put in is kind of stuck. So
That's one of the points, and also the point that's close to that. That if you look on other applications that also handle these meta tags, they store these meta tags somewhere else. It's not together with the article or the content. So if you want to change the plugin, does it delete all the meta tags? Does it disappear, or how does it handle these meta tags? And if you have a content creator, for example, he has to create the content in one place in Joomla or from the front end. And if he wants to have or create the meta tags, he has to go into another application on the Joomla side and then create the meta tags there. Here he can do that from the same view, say so. And the information is stored together with the content of the article. If you go in and delete, for example, uninstall the hotoMeta module, the content, the meta tags, you could say, but the content will still be there together with the article. It doesn't disappear.
yeah, that's great. Hey, one more question before I get you to share your screen and show us. Well, actually, two questions. I've turned my mic down a little bit. For those of you that are listening on Twitch, can you just tell me if John and I are equally balanced in volume, if whether I should put mine up or down a bit more. While we're waiting for the delay for that to come in, why hotoMeta? What's the meaning, or how did you come up with the name for that?
Yeah, the meta is self-explanatory, I think, because it's meta tags. The hoto is short name for my company, my spare time company, that's called HomeToll. So all the short naming I have to do, for example, the labels and so on, I use the hoto in front of it. That's why it's called hotoMeta. So it's short for HomeToll and then meta.
Okay, cool. We'll have to get you to share the link to your site so we can check it out. But go ahead and share your screen in Zoom there. If you want to share the window that has that you want to show us, or else you can share your whole desktop, and then just go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I'll share my second screen here. I hope you can see it. Let's see if it.
Yeah, the Open Graph Protocol.
Yeah. So that was from the start. That was the meaning or the reason why I actually started the project, because I wanted the Open Graph Protocol inside the content, and I wanted to display. So that was the main reason. That was the Open Graph Protocol. I just took that out for the source for it. But if we talk about what is the meta tags, uh, if you look on this is the output, the source code, if you say so, from a basic Joomla article, and you say it already shows or views some meta information. You have here the meta, the viewport, the meta for the author, the content, Joomla, and so on. So some of the information is already given there, and just go to an article. Just to log in again.
Demo admin. Your password's 1234567 8.
Exactly. So well guessed. This installation I have here is the latest Joomla installation, just with the default content you can install together with it. There's nothing else installed on it, and so on. And you know that many of the meta tags you already have here, the default meta tags you can fill out.
Yeah, the description, keywords.
Exactly. And that's what the one you saw in the source code. But I wanted the open graph meta tags. Just how to. They are a little other described here. It's called OG for open graphic, and then it's called title and type and so on. And these I wanted to be able to add. So if you take it from start, I have already installed the hotoMeta module on this one. Just have to go in and enable it. That's everyone who wants to install this. That's the first point they have to do, is they have to enable it.
So you went into manage there, and you're going to filter for hoto.
Yeah. I just enable it. Enable. The next thing I can do, if I want to change some of the default settings, that I can go into plugin.
And so you're going to extensions. Is it a module or is it a plugin?
It's actually a plugin.
Okay.
There's only one option in here that you can actually change, and that's the field group title it has to look for. By default, it's called hotoMeta, as the plugin is called. And if you want to call it something else, you can just change it here. But it does that, it looks for this label in a content.
Okay.
And all the fields, all the you have assigned to this field group will be generated as meta tags automatically. I'm just going to walk through how to set it up now, so you can see what I mean. Just close this one. So the first thing I have to do is that I have to create this field group, which I want to store all these custom fields in. And this has to be the same name as in the plugin.
And does it have to be a capital M? If someone didn't use a capital M there, just use all lowercase, would that still work in Joomla?
No.
No. Okay, so it's got to be exact.
I'll not guarantee that. I haven't tested it.
Okay.
But what I do in the code is that I just make a string comparison.
Okay.
And without saying yes, if you can use all small letters or capital letters, I just want to say now it has to be the same spelling and the same small
Okay.
and capital letters, as you said.
And it's always good practice to use the exact thing that you've typed in, anyways.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't tried if you can do the other things, but it's something for testing. And that's the only thing I have to do for when creating a field group. So now I made this field group where I want to store my fields into. So now I go to the fields, and I want to create a new one. So let's look at the open graph. One of the fields I want is the open graph title. Just grab that and put here as title. And here it's important that the title field you see here
Yeah.
will be the output.
Okay, so it's got to be the OG colon title. It can't just be title.
Yeah, that would be the property label or the property name
Okay.
that it puts in here. So that's important that it has to be the same. But I can make more fields of the same name, so it doesn't give me really a problem there. Because later on we can talk about images and so on, how to do that. Right now, of the type, of the field type, the plugin only supports the types of text and text area. Text for one line, text and text area for longer descriptions.
Okay.
In the application, in the plugin, it does take the raw value of the field and outputs. It doesn't make any description or any check on what type of field it is. For example, if I wanted a color field here, or did choose a color field, it will work when you type in the meta information, and you can choose color and everything, but it will output the raw value of the field. So that's why I say it only supports right now text and text area fields, but you can actually use all the fields from a list, but I don't guarantee how the output will be.
Yeah. And for Open Graph tags, there's really not a need for that much length anyways, is there? I guess perhaps for if there's a description, but
yeah, that's correct. It's not really a long description or long text. You want it's basically URLs and so on, and types you do. The longest one will be the description.
Yeah,
that's correct. So what you do here, you choose the type. You can give it a name, or it will just be auto-generated from the title. And the label is of course the label that you see in when you enter the value in your content. Let's just give it a label. Let's just call it title. And you can type in a description. Just for some short. Yeah. Then I can choose if it's required or not required. I can enter a default value. This default value, if you don't change it, if your content creator does not change the field, this default value will be outputted.
Okay.
For the title. So, example for authors, if I want to be an OG author, I can always write my own name in it, for example, if I want. Then I don't have to change it on each and every content I create. The filter is just the input filter on how it should treat when you enter fields into that, insert text into this field, so that we save HTML and so on. The maximum length. What you have to remember on this screen also is that you have to choose the field group, and this has to be hotoMeta. So you now Joomla knows that this field, OG title, belongs to this field group.
Okay.
So it will be displayed under the same tab later on. In category, by default it will be here all, but if you have several categories on your site, you can choose actually for what categories this meta tags should work. So I could actually create two titles or two offers, for example, from a hotoMeta group,
Yeah.
field group. Or, for example, I have one author who's always in one category and another author in other category. So I create one author title for the one category and another author for the other category. I hope this gives some sense.
Yeah, no, that's nice. Especially so if there's an author that's writing a blog and they're the only one that writes in a category, you can set it so it automatically puts their name in, and they wouldn't even have to know about this. They could just go in and add content, and already it's automatically in there.
Exactly. You can have author one, or it has to be author, and then just call it OG author one here, and then it has for his category, and then make the default value his name. Then he don't have to change it at all.
Yeah.
Then it will always replace him as the author.
So you could have 50 authors assigned to the hotoMeta field group, but each one of those assigned only to a category, and then when they go to add, that's only that field's going to show up.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. This is the fields you have to put in on the first screen. If you go here to options, options here is basically for these new types of fields in Joomla. It's for the output when you output it inside or together with the content of an article. But you have to do one thing in here, that you have to set this automatically display to do not automatically display. If you do not do this, this field will be displayed as plain text also on your output when you're viewing the article on your site. And this turns that off, because you can choose after the title, before display, and after display. So by turning this off, it will not be displayed on the output as visible HTML, but it will still be outputted as the meta tags. You'll quickly find this error, because you will have the fields displayed on this homepage. Publishing is how you know from everything else.
Yeah.
And permission. Here you can set the permissions for the fields. For example, I want if you have set up that the default value is always this author name, as we talked about before, you can actually say that he should not be allowed to change it.
Okay.
You can then protect this field that anybody wants to change it.
All right.
Example, there's site name, open graphic site name. That's the site name, so the name of your site. You don't want really to have different authors to change that. So you can actually put in this OG site name, default value, and then have the permissions so that nobody can change it.
Okay.
Then it will be safe to use. So this is actually what I need to do. I just save and close this one. So now I have one field, the OG title, belongs to the field group hotoMeta, and is type of text. If you now go into an article, just take the first one, Smart Search. It's just a demo from this demo data that Joomla installs that shows how Smart Search is working.
Okay.
But you can now see that you have this label up here. It's called hotoMeta.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Uh, if I choose this one, and remember, you can label this whatever you want. I can put in the title, and I can just say smart OG.
Now it's picking up the tab. Is that because that's the name of your plugin, or the field group?
This one you see here. That's the field group.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm
if
still I'm
I
still a tags. I'm still a custom fields noob somewhat. So
yeah, that's no, that's actually a very valid question, because I think where a lot of the problems or hiccups could be that if you label this one way, but in the just one here, and in the plugin you have labeled it the other way. Let's go into the plugin again. This label here, what it's searched for, it just search for this name. What you type in here will never be displayed.
okay.
So it's search for a field group name
Yeah.
with that name that you
Okay.
have entered in the plugin. And the hotoMeta is just the default value. You can call it my metadata or whatever you want. So if I save this, and we go and we look on the just refresh. This is the page from the site, the smart search page. Just refresh it, and go and view on the source. You can see here now it has added the meta information. Just highlighted here so you can see it.
Yeah, and your screen has a bit of a delay to what you're saying, but we see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see it has the meta added,
Yeah.
the property, OG title, and the OG title, what it puts in here, let's remember, let's go back,
Yeah.
because this is actually quite important. That was the title of our field. So what we put in here, in the title field, is what it puts into the property value. And content is then the information that this author has put into the field, the
Nice.
actual value of the field.
And now you have that field attached to it in the field in the core forever.
It is. If I go back and uninstall the hotoMeta, it will no longer, of course, output this meta tag in your source, but you will still continue to have the fields and all the information together with the article. And you can then use it for something else if you want that.
Excellent. So you basically would rinse, lather, repeat. You would create not only the what looks like the 4 base or core meta tags, but then you have all the optional ones that people could put in as well.
Yeah. Of course, Open Graph wants you to use at least these 4 meta tags, but you can put everything else in as you want. There's one hiccup at the moment. I haven't come around to do that yet. If you want to have an image, for example, let's just create one. I create a new field that I want. I want the type of OG image. Now, what I normally do, I will just choose the media because that will actually give me a nice media selector or image selector in the application.
Okay.
Let's just test that out. A second. I forgot something important. I have to assign it, of course, to the field group. It will not show up in the correct place.
Now, are you aware of a way that you can, so for instance, the one where it will autofill into the field a code for the URL of the page?
Not at the moment,
Okay.
but that's something I work on.
Yeah. Because if
I'll come back to that in just a second.
Okay.
Because that's one of the ideas I'm working on at the moment. So you take this image field. What I really would like to do is that, okay, I will just go in, I'll select an image. I'll just select one here. And that's what I normally will do. But that actually doesn't work with hotoMeta at the moment. I have to do some coding here because the output will just be image slash then the image name.
Okay.
I'm missing the first of the URL, that your site and so on.
Yeah.
HTTP your site and so on. That'll be in the next version.
Okay.
That'll probably be finished here in 1 or 2 days.
Cool.
Yeah. At the moment, you actually have to make this. The thing, I go back. Can't change it, so I'll just delete it. I'll trash this one.
So right now you're just making it a text field?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, well, that'll be exciting as you continue to develop it, because if it gets to the point where it will read the URL of the page or look for an image or something like that, then that'll be killer. I mean, this is killer as it is. This is so great.
So I'll just make a example here. Yeah. The reason why I can't do that is because I already have this OG. And I will create a second image also here. Just to show that you can actually have several fields with the same title. Oh, I just forgot to put it into the field group.
Okay, yeah.
Because especially, and I go to look on my article again. Especially with the image field, OpenGraphics supports several image fields.
Okay.
So when you put this URL on Facebook or somewhere else that support this, you have several images you can choose from, and these several images is these image tags that you put in. So you can actually have 2, 1, 5 image tags, and it will read them all, and you can choose which image you want to be displayed in Facebook, for example.
Okay, so is one, for instance, Twitter card, is that an Open Graph tag?
Twitter card? I actually don't know.
Oh, okay. That's the one that I've seen it in the back of, like in the code of pages, but
I will write that down and examine it.
well, don't be
So
surprised if
here
it's
I can.
something else.
So here I can type in the URL, and I have to, at the moment, type in the complete URL for the image. So and so on.
Hey, here's a question. Do you
Yeah.
would Regular Labs re-replacer work if you created a tag that was the full URL, was the web page of the site, and then you just put in the image name? I wonder.
Could be. I don't know the how this regular has
Yeah.
done actually work, because it just goes to the code. Does it make a replacement in the header also? Because it has to go in and look into the header.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it just in the body content? Because if it crawls through the header and changes there, you can actually do that. Then it should work.
Vinny says here in chat, the problem with having a plugin search for an image to use is that the ideal image size is 1200 by 1200, and it uses this image for the square image, but for the banner size of the Open Graph crops the bottom and top.
Yeah, yeah.
And my question about re-replacer, Vinny says you can use snippets to do that. But
okay. Yeah. So this is basically what the hotoMeta is doing right now, is that you can create this field group.
yeah,
You can attach fields to it, and right now it's only text fields,
yeah,
and it will displays out as property and the content as meta tags in your output.
that's great.
And it only works on content as articles.
Yeah,
It has a content is attached to. So if you're using K2, or you wanted to do it in something else where you can use these new fields you can add, it does not work. It only works with articles.
okay, that's great. Well, shall I open up the Zoom call? I know.
Yeah, I can continue what my plans are if you want to hear
No,
that.
yeah, continue on. Yeah, that's fine. I'll open it up. You tell me when you're ready.
Okay. What I'm working on right now, well, first I want to create, so you can just choose your images. Don't have to write the complete URL for that. But if you look into, for example, an article here, it already has a title.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, why do I have to write the title again? What I want to do is that you can use text in the application, and it just write title.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
If you write this in, what do you call it, colifax in English?
You asked him about the brackets.
Yeah.
I call them squiggle brackets. I don't know what.
Okay.
Nobody who speaks English, very well, not a lot of people who speak English speak it well anyway. So I'll call it squiggle brackets. There's probably a real name for it, but
yeah, probably we don't know. But I really want to do this so that instead of have to rewrite smart search title in my title field, and also have to do it into this meta field,
yeah,
I can just put this in, and then it should snap whatever value I have here.
yeah.
And also you can put this in the default value of my meta text. So I only have to do it once, and then it works through all my content.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, the other thing too is you could also have the title of the image, but you could also have some text and then the title so that they're all the same. So it would be like my site about dogs, have the
Yeah,
title and then dash my site about dogs, and then you're taking advantage of some SEO stuff there too.
yeah. Example I could do by
Vinny says they're called curly brackets.
okay. For example, something like that. You can take the title and you can add something
Yeah.
for that.
But that you're
That
saying
that
that doesn't work yet.
no, that comes in the next version.
Okay. Nice.
So what I want to do is, and that a little thing that has to do also with the images, because we already have some images in here. For
Yeah.
example, the intro image and the full article image. And I went and okay, do I want to select images or do I want to do this? So let's see, we can just the intro image, for example.
No, yeah.
It always takes, oh yeah, it should be intro. So it always takes the first image that you put
Yeah.
in there and the image. Okay. So,
Now, I don't usually use that part of the article because I like to place my articles where I want them. So I don't, but I guess you can always create overrides or something to not have that. But for those that use that, that would be great. You know, pick it once
yeah,
and you're done.
exactly. So,
Same thing
so
with
right now,
same thing with the description. If you're using the meta description tag area, type it in there, and that's auto-filled.
yeah, because you just have to go from. You already have a lot of meta
Yeah,
description
yeah,
here. Why don't you use it? For just because it's a meta tags for another provider or another system, why don't we use the same description?
yeah,
It can be that you want to use something else due to it has to say something else.
yeah. It's funny, you know. The other day, I had an article from a fellow that down in the States that sends me his commentaries and devotionals every week. And the other day, when I shared it on, and I put in a good meta description. The other day when I shared it, and I right-clicked and went to view the description of the page, it actually was picking up the first paragraph of the article, regardless of what I put in meta description. So.
Yeah, it depends. For example, Facebook. It does, as I know, how I did test it, that if you don't have this open graph description
Yeah.
in it, it will look for the actual content, the actually body content,
Mm-hmm.
and displays that. Doesn't look for, just let's go back, any other description here.
Yeah.
Simple.
And Facebook is a pain sometimes too because it does not find the image on the first view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without that.
Yeah. And this also brings me to another point that I also have to do it in. It will not come in the next version, but maybe next version. That right now it's very focused on Open Graph, and Open Graph has to be like meta. Then we call it property equals, and then whatever the property is. The other meta tags it's called name. For example, meta, name, author, content,
Well,
Joomla. So they have different naming standards here. What I has planned to do that if I want to change, let's go into the field here. If I want to change, it shouldn't be property, but I want to have it name instead. I will have to type it in the title here, for example, so that it actually changes the output meta property or name value or whatever.
okay.
So you can decide what this should be. Right now, it only outputs property. That's actually hard coded in the code right now.
Cool. Yeah, Vinny mentioned in the chat there about using Facebook sharing debugger. That's That's a great tool on Facebook where you can put your URL and see what's going to be seen. It's also a great place too that if you make a new web page, forget to put the article on, you go to share it on Facebook, it's not picked up. You can go to the Facebook sharing debugger and have it scrape your page again after you add the image, and it will update across Facebook. So that's a cool trick too. But
Oh, that's another thing.
well,
Okay.
this is great. I'm just so excited that this is in the core.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that really makes me excited about the new Joomla. So after 3.7, is this things that extend the core with, and these, especially these field groups and new fields you can add. You have a lot of possibilities to change Joomla articles and content how you want it to be.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to playing with that on, especially now that I know how to set it up. Let me get the link here from. You know what? I'm going to quickly go to the black screen of death here, just because I'm not sure what's going to pop up on my screen when I share this. So hold on for just a sec there. No, that's not it. There we go. Well, close our eyes. Let's see what comes up. Oh, good. It's on here. I was just getting the link for Zoom there. All right. Vinny's there. I saw Chayton was in there as well. Give him feedback on the sound there. If you want to join in the Zoom call, there's the link in chat. Jump in there if you've got some questions or some comments, and we'll talk about hotoMeta here, and then who knows what our conversation will deteriorate into after that. So, John, that's thank you for programming this.
You're welcome.
That's great, and that's totally right in the spirit and the direction that of things that I look for in Joomla now, that works with the core. And as you develop other versions and program the automatic nature of it and stuff like that, that's excellent.
I can tell you just some statistics.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It took around, I think it was 12 days since I submitted to the JET, and it just was published. It has to go through some checks and security before it will be released on JET, and it did that Sunday, I think it was, 2 days ago.
Okay.
And so far it has been downloaded 23 times, and it's not me.
You haven't downloaded your own 23 times.
So just in these 2 days, I think that's kind of amazing already. I didn't expect that. And actually, I already got the first replies and suggestions for new things to put into it.
Yeah, cool. And I know that Vinny was really excited about being in contact with you about some things. I don't know if you're watching the chat here on Zoom, but on Twitch. But Mary says, "Thanks, John. That looks very useful for people to use."
Thank you. I just put on the chat here so I can see it on screen.
Yeah.
On Twitch. I didn't see that before.
Well, then you'll see. I don't know what the delay is right now between when we actually say this and when it actually shows up, but sometimes it goes as high as 30 seconds. But so that's good to know. Okay. You had 23 downloads already. So once we get this wrapped up, I'll tweet it out, and we'll see if we can get that number to go up. It's called hotoMeta, hotoMeta, HOTAMETA, and you can find it in the JED. Now, how many hours did it take you to program all of this? How much time have you spent on it?
I'm not sure if I really want to tell that, because I use a lot of hours. Not because the code is very big. you can see the code if you download it. Or I can show it here on the screen if you want to. But it's actually really a very few lines. I think it's 10 lines in all. But man, finding the documentation on how to do this, that was a pain. Just by searching how to look up this uh, new custom fields, how to when the article is generated, how to look up the fields. There was maybe 20 different ways or suggestions on the internet how to do it, and none of them worked for me. So it was really basic. So I have to go into my editor and debug all the variables and on all information I could get my hands on from the document variables you get from the system till I could find the fields myself. So that took a lot of time for making a few lines of code.
Well, thank
That
you.
was
Thank you for doing that. All right. I posted the link to the Zoom call there. That's, do you want to, here, why don't I do that here? Let me bring this up. What's the URL of your site, your business site?
my site.
Yeah.
Should have just type it in.
Yeah,
Can I
sure.
do that?
Yeah, type it in.
I don't know if it's
Home tool. Okay.
not well,
Here we are right here. I think that's what's probably showing up on the stream. Yeah. Is that a picture of you?
oh, what the? I can't see it. What you see?
That was you writing on the board.
Oh no, that's
I don't
not
think
me.
it was. Nice.
No.
Well, and then you do. Okay, so I saw that this purple logo that you have up here, open image and new tab. I was looking for something to use as a logo on the thumbnail, and I didn't know if that was something that the Jed just put in, but that's your logo. Okay.
Well, yeah, this H with a circle around it. Yeah, it is. That's the general logo I'm using.
Nice. hotoMeta, one product. Excellent.
Yeah,
There's okay.
actually, I did never really expect to create a product, if you could call it that, for Joomla, because I really just do sites or applications for small businesses.
Yeah.
I really didn't expect to create a plugin and release it on the Jet, but as I said, started up with, I did it because I couldn't find what I really needed.
Cool. Now, do you have any plans, and we won't hold you to this if you want to change your answer at some point down the road. Do you have any plans to have a pro version that people would pay a membership for?
No,
No plans. Okay, so it's just going to be free.
no, I can tell you that the hotoMeta will always be free. That's because it's not really that big.
Okay.
So the application will always be free. It will not change. Okay, what about then support? Right now, it doesn't take me so long because it has been out there for 2 days, so I haven't been blocked by the email. But let's see how that goes. I still want to keep the hotoMeta as simple as possible. I don't want to add a lot to it.
Yeah.
So I hope it will be self-explaining when you use it
Yeah.
and how to use it, or I have to do a better documentation. So you'll always be able to download it and download the newest version for free. That will not change to any pro version.
And don't forget the power of video tutorials. Throw a few video tutorials up or make a few, and then
I've been thinking about that. I have to, especially how to install and how to set up these
yeah.
groups and so on. But maybe if you want a deeper support or more specialized support later on, maybe that could be a paid support.
Yeah, and you
But
never, yeah,
so
and
far, no plan.
you never know what will come out of that because you start something, and I mean that's the thing about so many different aspects of Joomla. You start to do something that you need to do for yourself, and you think, oh, I know how to do that now, and then you run into someone and say, oh, well, I could do that for you, and then the next thing you know, they're interested, and it grows, and you've gone a whole different direction than you ever thought that you would in something.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to experiment if that's side by no. I've never tried with these. Oh, look at that. There fills the whole page. Fit the window. Okay. Side by side. Well, there we are both at the side. Great. Well, we have, we have 3 in here now. Who else is in here? Vinny's in there.
I've been in here for a while.
Yeah, I figured you probably were. John, do you want to stop sharing your screen there? And then that'll allow the pictures to go.
Just a second if I can.
Unless.
How to do that? I should
There we
upload.
go.
Yep.
Excellent. So, Vinny, you've been using this already.
Yeah, so you have 24 downloads. Just I downloaded it from your site instead of the JED.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I left you your first review.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Should I read it before I go to bed or just cry tomorrow?
Yeah, you maybe shouldn't read the review until the morning just so it doesn't wreck your sleep.
Don't read it right before you bed.
Oh, that's really good. I'm excited to use it. I'll tell you, I showed you, I think last week or the week before at some point, something that I'm using for the Google tags.
Yeah.
And just how I stopped using it because I realized this is just going to disappear if I don't keep paying for the membership for this to update or whatever. So this could, so you've got the core extension there to develop so that people could do Google tags, or if Twitter comes out with something, or if Instagram has their own thing and people just want to go crazy and do all their tags, then just that feeling when you're working on stuff on your site and it's like, oh, I'm doing all of this, but I could lose it if I stop using this. So that's adds such a better enjoyment to the whole process. So plus it's nice to have something basic or simple like that, because if you are building a site for a client, you can explain to them, say, okay, we want you to put in a description put the title in here because this is important on Facebook and will help your business succeed in social media. And they get it. So then even if they're just doing it as a rote practice or just doing it over and over again as part of it, that's going to help them.
Well, I think for me, what's made it easier for me, because I've been using a different open graph. Well, it does a lot of open graphs, but it's a separate component. What's easier for me is that it's all in the same article. So whatever article I'm working in, I just go to one more tab and then I save the article. So I don't have to go in multiple places to add my open graph tags. And I'm very specific with what my open graph tags look like. So I don't want a plugin pulling it from different sources like some of the other ones out there. I like to have the control of exactly what I want displayed on Facebook. So, and that's what this program allows me to do, really take control over what I want displayed. And I had my open graphs all set up, and then I was like, you know what? I want to add another open graph tag, and I just went into the fields and popped it in, and then easily just associated with that open graph field group, and there they were.
Wow.
And the documentation is so easy. It was really easy to follow step by step. I don't expect a lot of people to have a lot of questions on how, or saying, well, why isn't this working? I think quite simply, it will work for most people immediately if you just follow the directions.
And once we get this video up on YouTube, you could always just slam that on there for an introduction and people can watch it.
Sure, that's actually my plan to do that.
Oh, good.
That,
Good.
Video.
You know, all this talk about all this effort and all this talk about open graphs too is something that's a good reminder. I was working on a quote for someone the other night, and they had actually given me a website that they would like. They said, how much would you charge for a website like this? So I went through and I looked at the content, how many pages and sections they had, and some of the things they were using. Like they had an FAQ area, but it was all pop-up modals or light boxes, and they had a video area and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, well, how much could I, on average, what's it going to take me to set up this site, do a custom template to match up to their logo and everything, and then I've got these 15 main pages that need to be set up. How much is it going to cost me per page? And then I thought, well, I looked at it and started thinking of numbers, but then I started remembering how much was involved in setting up, doing the SEO and the descriptions and now open graph tags and everything. So you can look at a page, people visit a web page and say, oh, well, this is a nice web page, and oh, there's the content. But to do it properly now, to really take advantage of being shared in different social media things on different devices, being found in search engines, you're spending as much time on stuff that people don't see, well, way more time, especially because I said to the client, this quote is for content that's complete that you send to me. I don't want to fix spelling and make paragraphs and stuff like that. So you're actually going to spend way more time on behind the scenes stuff so that it's a legitimate competing web page. And at least just, even if you're not worried about search engine, being found in a search engine, at least to be shared, spend all that time on other things in the back. And that's why, a lot of clients don't understand that, or people don't see that. And so again, can't say it enough, to be doing all of that work on something that will now stay in the core is great. That was a statement, not a question. That's all. You always tell when you made a statement, it leads to silence. So I should have ended with that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, good, great. We killed the silence right there. So yeah, so you think you'll ever do a second extension?
Maybe, I don't know what it should be yet, but what we say here, that I got on my feet, so maybe.
Yeah. I like that I like that there's something that you wanted, and so you went out and figured out how to do it.
Yeah, that's because I had exactly the problem that you explained here, that if I wanted this open graph tags into my article, I had to use another component and place them somewhere outside my article. I had to go to somewhere else to do it. Yeah. And I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to have them together. I wanted, when everything belongs to this article, it should be here and not somewhere else.
I'm not going to hang up on you guys, but I am just going to say, for the people that are maybe hanging around watching the replay of this, as happens, we end up talking about stuff. So I do want to thank you, John, before we lose any more than we already have, for programming this and your time today showing it. It's great. I'm really excited about it. I'm as excited about it as I am a bunch of other new things that I've seen recently. So
you're welcome.
Looking forward to using it, and I think I'm excited about it because it's one more thing I can say, hey, I know that guy. So for those of you that who are here for serious Joomla stuff, that's probably going to be the end of it, or maybe it's already the end of it. Thanks for watching, and we're going to keep streaming here on Twitch and chatting and different stuff, but. So follow this channel if you want to get updates, to know when we're on Twitch again, and also if you're watching this on YouTube, like the channel, subscribe, give it ring that bell for notifications, and we'll catch you the next time. So until then, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.